What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers, and today is Sunday, July 7th, 2019, and this is episode number 97. Tonight on the show, we have Mr. Ernst Blofield. What's going on, my dude?
How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing swell. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. We're going to get to you in just a second. Guys, during the show, if you would like to ask a question to be answered during the Q&A at the end of the show, all you have to do is use the exclamation Q command in chat, followed by your question, and our bot will grab that at the end of the show. And if we're not live and you'd like to ask us a question or submit any kind of feedback at all, feel free to shoot a email over to podcast@knackers.com. And lastly, if you enjoy the show, you like us, and you'd like to see the show grow, and you want to give us some feedback, please consider leaving a review for the podcast on iTunes. So before we kind of get into everything, Ernest, which I know wasn't your real name because I just figured this out, I would love for you to take a second to say who you are, throw out your social media, where people can find you online, and kind of just a quick summary of what you're about.
Sure. So my real name is Eric. Like you said, it's not a lot of people put their real name as their Twitch, but if it was, I think Ernst Blofield would be one of the unique ones. But actually, the username actually came from James Bond. The number one villain in James Bond is Ernst Blofeld, but that wasn't available on PS4 at the time. So we went with Ernst Blofield, and that's been the name ever since. But real name is Eric. Long time sort of tech guru, very similar to yourself. Maybe not as into making the stuff as you are, but I am definitely all about that testing life, where testing things out, finding what fails, finding out how to fix them, and ultimately, I was driven by audio. You guys can't see it on stream now, but I have 5 guitars, so I play guitar. And trying to stream using a stream PC and play guitar and do all that type of stuff is literally impossible. So I had to figure out how to make audio work. And sort of in my quest to make audio work, I became known as like the audio guru for Twitch. So that's how I came about.
So what do you say you do the most of on your channel? Like, do you have something that you kind of center around, or do you kind of just go
gaming.
all over?
It's always gaming. So gaming first. It's always been gaming. Every Friday we do usually a Rocksmith stream, which is basically the Guitar Hero, but with a real guitar. So It's just like Guitar Hero or Rock Band that you've played, but it's with real guitar. So we do that on Fridays. Usually we have a couple beers, couple sipping, but then Monday through Thursday is typically games, anywhere from Rocket League. Lately it's been team fight tactics, formerly a bunch of shooters. So just trying to keep entertained with video games while also getting older and getting my ass kicked by younger kids now.
Dude, it's okay. So I've played a lot of Rocket League. I have over 1,100 hours in it. I haven't played for a while now. I'm thinking about doing another stream pretty soon. But sorry, I had a quick brain fart. It got to the point where it was either you are going to play full time, you're not going to play anything else, and not only are you only going to stream that game, you're going to play it offline too. And I don't know about you, but finding time to play games off stream, not even the time, but the motivation to play it off stream as well, is like, it is so daunting sometimes. So how much time did you put into Rocket League?
I think I'm at 910 hours right now.
Okay.
But I do play it. I play it kind of casually. I usually play it on Fridays as well as like the warm-up game before guitars and stuff. So I get about 2 to 3 hours in that game, and then I'll switch over to guitars. But I actually do play Rocket League off stream. There's only 2 games that I've, like, of all time that I've really ever played off stream, and Rocket League is one of them, and the other one is this Team Fight Tactics, the auto chess from League.
Okay.
Which I've never been into. I don't know how I was literally just watching a streamer play it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna try that out. And I don't know anything about League. I downloaded the client and started playing it, and now anytime I got 30-40 minutes free, I run up one of those games.
Okay, so I see that you've been putting a lot of time into that lately, and I see an equal amount of fun and frustration, like, coming from both angles. I was lurking in one of your streams recently, and you're like, how am I supposed to do this? are fucking squashing me. And but lately it seemed like you've kind of gotten a little bit more of a hang of it. You're starting to learn, and I definitely see your pleasure through the anguish, because I know that there's games that I'm like, okay, I have to get through being terrible because I know I want to be good at this game. And I know that it can be really fun if I'm good, but right now I'm sucking ass and it's not fun, and it can be frustrating.
Yeah, it's that's exactly how team fight tactic is. You have to build a comp, and every game is a little bit different, right? And so you're trying to learn what the best comps are, what the best items are, and there's so much depth to the game that yes, you can come right out of the gate and get really close to winning, but you realize that you're really not close to winning at all. So the more and more you play, the more and more you learn about items and comps and powers and shifting of power from early game to end game. And there's just so much to learn. And honestly, I'm always going to be behind the curve, because whoever's, coming up with the metas at the time, everybody adapts to that. And then I have to try to adapt to that. So I know I'm not going to be good at it, but I have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of RNG in it, which, depending on who you ask, is good or bad. Right now, I like it. Right now, I like the RNG in the game. Shortly, I'll probably fucking hate it, but it's it's a good game.
So I think it was before the last podcast, I had two of my guests, Bishop and Gigantic Gent. They had brought up the topic of auto chess, and up until 2 weeks ago, I had never fucking heard about it. I didn't even know it existed.
Same.
So what was your kind of entry point into it? Was it that game?
Yeah, it's this game, that Teamfight Tactics. I've never played an auto chess before. I had no clue what auto chess was. All I knew that it was somewhere related to Dota, something related to something else. Anyway, one of the streamers that I watch, who is, I would say, kind of a variety streamer, he started playing it, and he's a chill dude, really chill. And when I found out that you could play the game and it doesn't really take a lot of aim skill, it seems like you can sit back and talk to chat, and those are the two things where, like, if I just want to have a chill, relaxing day and use video games in order for me to, like, wind down from my workday, I could hop on this auto chess game, start playing a couple games, learn. Of course, we're going to continue learning, but I was like, I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what it's all about. It's a 1v8 or 1v7. So it's 8 free for all. Basically, I was like, let's just chill. So and you can stack your own lobbies. So you can get like 7 of your closest viewers or subs or whatever, have them hop in, and you guys can all play against each other. And it's great. There's a lot of RNG. There's, it's card based. It's very similar to me to like poker. Think of it like a poker tournament in a way, where you're choosing cards and using those cards to win little rounds, and then those will stack your chips higher or stack your chips lower.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
I have never been able to get into poker, not even, or card games. So to make a long story short, years and years and years ago, we got snowed in. I was on a snowboarding trip in Utah. And have you ever heard of the card game Euchre?
No.
Okay, so Euchre, I have nothing to compare it to because I can barely play it myself. I think it's a pretty common game in the Midwest. I don't think it's made its way out west that much.
Okay.
But we spent 8 hours minimum indoors trying to learn this game and getting fucked over and over and over and over again. And then ever since then, I've just hated playing card games. Like any like tabletop, I just like, if somebody's like, hey, let's play Boulder Dash, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to sit around a table and play a game. I don't know why I can't get out of that mindset. I kind of wish that I could, because I know that there's so many amazing games out there. But me, I'd much rather play video games with other people. But there's way more people who play tabletop games, like in like a group setting, than video games. I would like to watch poker. Like, I've seen movies recently where people are playing poker. I'm like, man, I wish I could be the guy that could just like, throw out some fucking cards and let's bet some shit. But I feel like at this point, I'm so far behind the poker game that I'll just get rolled over I'll lose way too much money before and you don't have to play for money, but that's what makes it fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and poker for me was one of those things where, my background, I'm a chemistry major, and so I took a lot of math. Math is like my strong suit. And freshman year of college, we had an Indian casino, about 40 miles away. So it was really close in order for us to go and gamble. So freshman year was also about the time when the World Poker Tour started up their TV show. And so we would go out during college and enter into these $20 tournaments. And me and my roommates won about 4 or 5 tournaments, pretty much right off the bat. And we would use that money and just kind of keep turning it over. But then, like you said, poker got really big, not only like online poker, but they also had those shows that would cover, pro strats and pro, how everyone thinks about this. So for years and years and years, it was kind of like just use the math and win. But now there's this whole, everybody has all the information, so you're at a disadvantage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now there's a master class on it and shit.
Yeah.
What about this auto chess game? What if you had never played a game like it before and you didn't really know what auto chess was? What was it about the game that brought you in? And then what was the same thing that brought you in what kept you in, or did you kind of discover something else through playing it? They're like, okay, you know what, this is my kind of game.
I don't even know that I still want to say that it's my type of game. Because I feel like if it's my type of game, I would have recognized it earlier. It was more the idea that there wasn't a lot of games that I was really enjoying at the time, and sometimes we go through those lulls throughout the year where there's like peaks and valleys, right? There's a lot of games out for a short period of time. You find one, you stick to it for a little bit, and then there's kind of a lull. You either play the same game over and over and you get tired of it, which for me usually ends up being like a little bit ragey. You get a little rage going, and I don't know. Whenever there's too much rage, or you end the stream or you end your video game session and you feel worse than when you started, And so I wanted to try something new, something a little bit more chill, something with a little bit more interaction. But as you probably know, after our conversations, like I have to know everything about something in order for me to sort of comprehend how to play something. It's a never-ending strive to like understand every aspect of a game and then do my best to be good at it. And so auto chess has just a ton of depth. It looks so simple when you first start out. You pick up your cards, you get more of one card, that powers up your player, you use those players against other players, and hopefully you're the last one standing. But there's so much depth that that's what kind of keeps me grinding. So I guess to answer your question directly, started out pretty much I just needed something new, and I wanted something pretty chill so I can interact with chat. And then the second part of it now is shifted a little bit more into I need to know everything about this game. Like I need to know why the things work the way they work.
Sure. Yeah, it's a super interesting concept, and it's one like I've kind of had an inner battle with myself of trying to find new games to play. Well, I guess first off, do you think that there's too many games, or do you think that there are too many mediocre games? Like, do you feel like the time in between game, like really, really, really good games is so far and few between, and then we're all just kind of, like you said, at this lull where there's so many games out, but we find like we can't find any? And is that because we have a super narrow mind about what we want to play, or because they're just not good?
I tend to think that there's too many games.
Okay.
So, and I think of it like I don't know if you've ever heard of meme theory. So, no. Meme theory is like this it came out with Instagram. It came out with, the internet basically, is that, what makes a meme? What makes something popular, right? Well, because we have like this oversaturation of games, there's so many games and they're constantly coming out. You end up basically finding the one that sticks to your friends, your core crew, whatever it is. And I think in most people's case, especially people that are on Twitch or that are watching on YouTube, you have this situation where whatever the streamers start playing and it locks on, everyone wants to try that out. And then it sticks for as long as they can stick. And after it's done, you move on to the next one that sticks. And that's the meme theory. The meme theory is memes are out there until it's overused, right? And I think video games are out there until they're overused, and then the new one comes up. And sometimes it's a reenactment of an old game, right? Like everyone will go back and start playing XYZ game, or it's not necessarily a new game. So that's why I don't think it's necessarily the quality of games. I think it's more the meme theory,
the quantity. And I guess one of the problems that I see recently is it's, you think of a game as something that comes out and that it'll always be there, right? You can always go back to it if you want. But the harsh reality about it nowadays is that if there's not enough players and there's not enough people to warrant the company to continue paying the server bills, those servers will go away and that game is gone. A game that I didn't play an insane amount, but when I did play it, I had a lot of fun, was Splitgate. Aside from so you played a good amount of that?
I didn't play it, but I watched a whole lot of it.
Okay.
Watched a ton of it.
So I and a few other people, not a crazy amount, had this issue where I would click and nothing would happen. Like the clicks would not register in the game, both for scoping and for shooting. And so after 4 hours of dying because I would come up behind somebody, click nothing, click nothing, click nothing, and then by that time they would turn around and kill me. That got fucking frustrating, and I just stopped playing it, and I haven't gone back to it since. But like there is a really, really, really awesome game, but for some reason it just hasn't really taken off, and I don't think it's because it's a bad game. It's almost like it came out in the wrong time, not necessarily generation time, but again, is it a problem of it not being the right game at the right time, or is it a problem of it being a game when there's too many other games?
I think everything's shifting, right? So we used to, I think you and I are both old enough to be like, oh, this game is coming out. The hype comes from the biggest players, right? Whoever's going to spend the most money to generate the most commercials to get the most hype for a game. People would play that, and people would interact, and they would only interact at given intervals, right? So someone will be like, talk once a week or once every other week about a game, like, how are you doing in this game? Well, now that interaction is like down to the hour, right? So lifespans of games are shorter because there's not a follow-up with your social circle a week later. It's within an hour. It's like, did you drop this rank? Did you? Yeah, I'm done. I'm sick of this. Elo is broken. Like, fuck this. It's all that stuff, right? And nowadays, everything's just faster, faster, faster. And it seems like life cycles of games are much shorter now. Not to mention that we have almost direct contact with developers now, which is, I think, the worst thing for gaming is that we can get feedback right away because we don't ever let their vision come to fruition. We end up having to change their vision based off of feedback, right? And that's the part that's really tough to me.
Oh, you see that as a negative with being so close to the devs?
I think it's a negative. I think it's one of the worst things.
Interesting. I think you're probably one of the first people I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, I don't think that we should. It's to me it's like this, right? Somebody made a video game as like some form of art and entertainment, right? And they want us to pay for it and play it. And if we enjoy it, we continue to spend our money on it. And I think of it this way. Would you ever go to a movie producer and say, oh, I watched your movie 500 times. I want you to go back and redo it, but this character needs to be XYZ. Yeah. Right? In a way, if you compare it to movies, where movies are a form of entertainment or service entertainment that you pay for, we're not doing that now. It's already getting close to actually us doing that. There's already like trailers that are coming, that whole Sonic the Hedgehog thing, right? Like, just let them release the movie. Like, don't go back and force them to change Sonic.
I didn't see the problem with Sonic. I did not. I didn't see the problem. I didn't know why everyone was so upset about.
I don't understand it either. Like, it made no sense to me. But
now, Blue Will Smith's Genie, I saw that and went, whoa, okay, that's out there. I saw Sonic. I'm like, it looks like a little fucked up rodent. I don't know what is he supposed to look like? It's like everybody had this vision of what Sonic the Hedgehog was supposed to look like. I didn't have that vision. No one shared it with me. Yeah,
and it, I know a lot of devs, and I was really close to a couple games that are out of San Diego, and so I knew a couple of them. And they work their asses off, like probably more than most industries out there. Like I would say, like it's like nurses and game devs. Those are the people that work their ass off all the time, and man, they could put 10,000 hours into something and come out and just everybody shits on them, and then they have to go back.
And it's not even like where 10 years ago you could put something out and then it just doesn't do good. You're like, oh, well, that didn't do great. And now you put something out and you are immediately met with an immeasurable amount of backlash and hate and tweets and emails and death threats. Like,
Yep.
I can't imagine the emotional roller coaster that everybody at Hello Games had to ride just to eat shit for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And then eventually it came back around. Did you ever play the game before? Did you play the game before and after?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Before was rough. I mean, I don't think we've ever talked about one game more on this podcast than No Man's Sky, because it was
Really?
like it's just a roller coaster. We were all so excited. And then the game came out and I played it for one day for a super long time and then just have never gone back to it. I'm sort of kind of stalling until the VR version comes out.
Sure.
Because I'm super stoked on VR stuff. So when that comes out, I will probably give it a fair share and then kind of revisit it then. But yeah, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a game developer these days, because like you said, you can put tens of thousands of hours into something and then it come out and it can just not be what people want, can totally tank. And then not only is it that game can just die, but your reputation can be soiled after one thing.
Yep. No, and that's the thing, is like that's the part that's hardest, is that whatever it is, and there could be a wide variety of things that contribute to success or failure of something, and everyone thinks that it's gonna tell your future, right? So something that's successful, think of Fortnite came out of nowhere in a way and is the most popular game in the world. It's beyond video games now, right? It's pop culture. It's far beyond video games. Yet a couple years prior to that, there was a game, H1Z1, that I was really close with, and that's some of the devs that I know, that actually had most of the mechanics in every single portion of that game, and it never got anywhere close. Now, the reason being is that there was a lot of other issues in the game that created such negative energy all the time.
Oh yeah, H1Z1's one of those games that I probably talked the most shit about. To be 100% transparent, my girlfriend has, I think, close to 900 hours in H1Z1.
Okay.
That was like the start of her streaming career. That's all she used to play. She absolutely loved that game, and it still tears her up inside that game is pretty much gone. And on the US side and the streaming side, it's pretty much gone. I know in Asia that game is still played a lot. But over here, I know of a few people that still go back to it from time to time, but for the most part, I don't see anybody playing that game. And there was parts in its timeline where it looked like that game was from two completely different developers. Like, it changed radically so much. Did you spend like a lot of time in that game, or was it kind of like more of a casual playthrough for you?
I spent a lot of time in that game, and I'm friends with most of the former competitive community as well that existed. So
okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time. I'm friends with a lot of the former devs. A lot of the former devs have moved on to other studios now. So I still talk with most of them, still talk with some of the devs that still work there. I was actually a manager for an esports team that played H1 professionally. Yep. So there was a long history with H1, and H1 had its ups and downs, and I was often not on the same side as the players sometimes when it came to things, and maybe it's me as a contrarian, but it was one of those things where H1 had a lot of things going, and there was controversy both from really the content creators, right? So the big content creators that were playing the game thought they should be able to make the game go this way. The studio had a different view of how it was, and the end product ended up being a mix of both, right? And so it didn't go one way towards the dev side, and it didn't go towards the content creator side. It was somewhere in the middle. And so to me, that was the fault of it. I think the community feedback created bad data for the devs. Devs made decisions on that data. It became a bad dev decision, and then the game died, So
Okay.
Not to mention there was bans in China at first, and then PUBG came out at the same time, and then as they started reviving the game, or whatever you want to call it, revive, Fortnite came out, and that was pretty much the end of anything and everything that H1 was going to offer.
Yeah, it's too bad. I know that there's so many people that they wanted to love that game, and one of the bigger guys, Pineapples, who I actually
I know Piney well.
Piney's such a great dude, one of my favorite guys. My girlfriend used to play with him back in the day when he was in his original clan.
Denial.
Before that, I think before he started streaming, she used to play in an off-stream TeamSpeak with him and a couple of those guys.
Yeah, and the 1G TeamSpeak.
I don't know. Weenie, you'll have to say. She's got all the history.
Yeah, so I used to manage Piney.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So he was on the team that I managed.
Oh, and so Denial before Echo.
Yeah, before Echo Fox.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of controversy around that as well, huh?
Yeah, I was in the deep shit of that one as well. So yeah.
All right. Well,
we're good friends with Piney, and he's a good dude. I've been to his house and barbecued with him and stuff like that.
No shit. Okay, I'm jealous.
In Vegas.
I got to meet him once. TwitchCon 2017. I didn't realize how tall he was. Tall dude, but yeah, Piney's a great guy. I love that guy. Yep. He was one of the guys that I didn't even really like watching H1Z1, but I could watch Piney play H1 all the time. And I would get up at 6:30 in the morning for work, and that crazy fucker was still live playing H1 from the night before. And from I will say the outside perspective, it always seemed like the streamers, not necessarily gamers, the streamers wanted the game to be a certain way. And every time an update would come out, it wouldn't be their way, and it would kind of stir up a huge fuss between everybody. So your perspective is that it kind of was down the middle, to where they would kind of take some of the feedback, but they still wanted to push their own ideas. Yeah,
a great example was so way back early H1Z1, there was something called dolphin diving. Basically, you spammed prone and spam jump, prone jump, prone, whatever. And you'd basically toggle and you go up and down like a dolphin, right? They called it dolphin diving. And basically what it would do on the servers, create a situation where the hitbox is unhittable. So if you can time your dolphin dives right, you can literally shotgun rush somebody and never get hit. Now, you had to be good to do it. I would say it did take skill, some level of skill to be able to do it. But then they got rid of it. And one of the things and that's an exploit, and I can see getting rid of something like that. But there was a lot of streamers that were out there that were whining about exploits. And those streamers created a change. And the devs then decided to basically make the change in such a way that actually changed all of the other components or mechanics of the game. They slowed down crouching. So while prone was a problem, they also ended up slowing down crouching. They also slowed down left and right movement for something called ENAS that, CDM. So there was a lot of things that they did beyond that, and they made it real slow from a movement perspective. And the people that loved to play the game, that, were really good at the game, had built a lot of their skill off of being able to master the movement in such a way that made them nearly unhittable.
I remember too, there was a big thing with emote looting, to where you could spam emotes and move while you were looting a body, and then you were pretty much unhittable at that point. I remember when that first got removed, and that caused a huge fuss. I'm surprised that the game isn't around But at the same time, I'm not surprised just because of, again, just how much shit just kind of went up and down.
Yeah, emote looting. There was seat swap. So the original game had seat swap, which basically you be driving in the driver's seat, and then you hit control 1, control 2, whatever your bind was for it, and you'd be able to switch seats and shoot from the outside of the car essentially, because the reticle. Like we could talk about that game forever, but because I know all the mechanics of how it's designed. Because I was also part of a team that gave them direct feedback. Part of their focus group team that not only tested their game for newer builds, but also gave them direct feedback on like how to fix stuff. And it was only a group of about 10 of us, but they didn't always even listen to us, which was like another part of it, which was like, come on, like you have us here for a reason. But yeah, this is where I think there's a little bit of difficulty, right? They wanted to design a game a certain way. Not all the streamers and content creators wanted it to be that way. And I think Fortnite's another example of it. Streamers and content creators make their streaming content based off of kind of being able to shit on everyone, right? Like in a way, it's about them being good. And so anything that tilts the scale towards the casual gamer and allows casual gamers to kill the content creators, so to speak, or kill the streamers, creates a bad content experience for them. Not necessarily for the other player, not necessarily for the population in general, but for the content creator, created a bad situation. But then you get this sort of like bounty system out there where all of these people that are watching content creators have a bad time, and the content creators bitching about, dying to explosion or dying to this thing or dying to that thing. And it becomes this like pitchfork, mob mentality that goes back to the devs and says, this is the exact thing that's broken and we want you to fix that thing. Oh, but by the way, you can't touch anything else. You have to touch that mechanic only. And I don't know. It's a weird world that, streamers and content creators make a lot of money off of these type of things. And so I understand it's messing with their money, but at the end of the day, I still think that we should let devs be devs and do their job.
Have you seen this most recent shitstorm with Summit 1G and the SOT devs that's been going down?
No, I have not. What is that?
Okay, so Summit, I think in the past week or so, rage quit SOT live on stream.
I saw his tweet. I saw his tweet, but I didn't. But that's good. Okay, keep going.
Little 30-second monologue of shit talking Summit style, standing up, throwing the headset, telling everybody suck his peener, and great time. So I think the main argument that's going on right now is he thinks the game should be made a certain way. And now whether he thinks it should be a certain way because of streaming or because of the game experience, I personally think that Summit comes from a gaming perspective first and a streaming perspective second. But there's this whole kind of discrepancy between people who want the game to be casual and then people who want the game to be PvP. And kind of just circling back around to your point about, I think having people this close to the devs is a bad idea. Do you see streamers being too close to the devs as even worse than just regular gamers being too close?
I think it's worse overall, right? Because great analogy, right? You don't let the first class passengers tell the pilot how to fly the plane, right? The pilot doesn't send, a quick message to the person in 1A and be like, hey man, I'm thinking about making a left here. Should I make a left? No, he's a fucking pilot. He knows how to fly the plane. Like, I don't care if you're a first class content creator, that's playing the game and driving. Don't get me wrong. They're driving player numbers. They're driving viewership numbers. They're contributing to the marketing dollar. And I think that they should have some sort of a say or at least some sort of a feedback loop. But at the end of the day, there needs to be sort of a separation between dev and content creator, or some such partnership that, like, if something's really broken, have the content creator be able to do some sort of custom thing, or make it a little bit a different route for the streamer to be able to handle their issues. But
totally agree with that. Yeah, I definitely see the value in creating ways for streamers to cater the game to their community. I think there's a lot of value in being able to be like, hey, this is something that we're all super excited about right now, and if we can kind of take this part of the game and do our own little thing, I think that speaks volumes to the game developers. But yeah, I don't really have a leg to stand on in the whole Sea of Thieves. I've never even played the game. I've wanted to, but I felt like by the time that I wanted to play it, it was at its highest, like it was at its peak, and I didn't want to be one of those people that just like kind of hopped on it for no reason. I see some Summit's points that, you know, he wants the game to be a certain way, because, you know, like I said, I think he's a gamer first and a streamer second. Like, he wants the best gaming experience. Summit has kind of been the same dude for a long time. He just wants to play games, be competitive, do some PvP, and in the end, you know, create good content for the audience member. But yeah, I definitely see him as a gamer first. But yeah, I'm still I'm not blown away, but I'm very intrigued by your mindset that, like, yeah, having things like Twitter and you know, email communication with devs and having them directly influence what the devs are doing is dangerous. And now I'm gonna have to kind of think about that for a little while and be like, I wonder if that's the case, if it's actually a bad thing, because I think there's a lot of valuable ideas that come from the community as well, but at the same time, it might not all be the best. Yeah.
Totally agree. I think there's a lot of good stuff that comes from it. Customs games, like I go back to Fortnite, right? Custom games in Fortnite is a great thing, right? It creates a lot of ways for new content to be created and new ways of practicing things that need to be practiced, right? From a competitive perspective, or, you know, from just a streaming perspective. I think that's great. I think it also gives Epic more content that they can take a look at, right? So while people are out, they built some sort of platform that people can contribute to their content and keeps the game going. This is the challenge in today's world, right? Is keeping the game alive. The second aspect of that I think is really important is something that they did, which is, you know, making a way for content creators to make money directly from people playing the game on behalf of the content creator. So the support a creator code is something that I think is genius, right? Because now it gives content creators even more incentive to play their game or to be a part of their game, because now they are directly making revenue from the game, irrespective of whether or not they're streaming.
Right. That, I remember when that first came out, there's a little bit of backlash, of course. Anytime there's an avenue opened up for somebody to make more money, there seems to be always a stink about it, when it's like, people are spending the money anyways. Now people are just getting the cut out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Super cool. Shit, I totally had a point and now it's gone. I knew I was going to ask you what you were drinking tonight, because I saw the label. I'd never seen it before.
So this is Alpine Beer Company, which is actually owned by Green Flash Brewing, which is the bigger mother company.
Okay.
It's called a Windows Up IPA. Alpine is about 40 minutes east of where I am. It's a smaller San Diego County beer company brewery.
That's right. I totally forgot that you live in San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. So TwitchCon's going to be right in your backyard.
Literally, yeah. Literally right in my backyard.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. I haven't missed one. I haven't missed a TwitchCon yet. So
no
I've
shit.
been every single one. Yeah.
Okay. I was there with my girlfriend and one of my best friends, and we grabbed an Airbnb in 2017.
In Long Beach.
Yep. Which I had nothing to compare it to. I didn't spend a lot of time at the convention itself. We were mostly out doing other things. But I had a good time. I thought it was a cool convention center. I didn't feel like the lines were insane one of the days, but I mean, with that many people, there's no way that you can be like, our lines are going to be fast all day, every day. Like, what if 10,000 people decide to not come at 9 and instead, you know, go at noon? There's no way you can prevent that.
Well, the first TwitchCon was in San Francisco, sort of right in Twitch's backyard, and they actually mailed out the badges.
Whoa!
So that was awesome. When they mailed it out, there was no issue. You showed up. So I'm sure there was some sort of an issue with like stuff getting lost in the mail or not showing up, right? But all you have to do is then put that station that allows you to print the badge as well. I still think that they should mail out the badges and have that system all put in place, because there was virtually no line the first year in San Francisco in terms of like getting your badge. You walk in, you had your badge, you met up with everybody, and you went through. The other thing that's become apparent, and clearly it probably contributed to this problem, but first year in San Francisco, second year in San Diego, they allowed drinking kind of everywhere originally. Yeah. Now, I will say that I can understand from a safety perspective and some of the other reasons why we might want to start closing that down. But yeah, it used to be a lot more of a party environment at TwitchCon, less about the convention, more about going and drinking with all your Twitch friends, right? But then Long Beach came around, and then of course San Jose, more and more kind of holding back on the drinking, making drinking areas smaller, making it a lot more about Twitch, a lot more about the companies, those type of things.
Yeah, because there's so many people who aren't 21 and up, especially now.
Crazy. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, I'll never forget. We were at the drinking lounge in 2017, and I think Weenie went up to go order like four double somethings, and then I'll never forget the look on her face when the bartender said how much it was. Her fucking jaw dropped. It was like $60 or $70 or something ridiculous. So my question is, in that first year with drinking being everywhere, were the drink prices everywhere ridiculous, or could you get like a $4 or $5 beer places?
Yeah, no, pretty much. So the first year in San Francisco, there was one bar on the second floor, and one bar in the Bud Light lounge area. There was like this Bud Light lounge area, and I'm pretty sure the beers and the wine was $4. So it wasn't bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Like if you're at a convention and it's $4 for a beer, you can $20 is a 5-pack, man. So that's not bad not bad at all. But in San Diego, it got more expensive. They had the Bud Light like outdoor area thing in San Diego, and I think it went up to like $9 or $10 second year, and they also started restricting like where you could drink and where you couldn't.
Right.
And in fact, there's one point in the San Diego one where I think I bought like 4 beers, put 2 of the beers in my pocket, and then walked to the convention center and was like drinking the beers down on the convention center thing. Nobody said anything, but ironically, there was a rule the next year, like, no, you can't go out of this area. So okay. I think a lot of people were doing that the San Diego year. Yeah,
in Long Beach, they had that tiny little Bud Light booth that was in the convention center itself. And Weenie and I were just talking about this, how we were standing there like within a couple feet of Ninja and his brothers, and they were just there by themselves, just kind of hanging out. And it was kind of like a starstruck moment. We're like, we saw him before he got big, kind of thing. Yeah. And like nowadays, there's no way that Ninja's not going to be surrounded by people wherever he goes. And good for him, man.
That's how it was in San Diego. So in San Diego, they had the H1Z1 Invitational, that big event, right? Yep. The one that Piney, Ninja, Summit, all the people played in San Diego. And so there was private H1 parties, and there was also the Bud Light Lounge, where sort of the same thing. I was hanging out with all the H1 people because we're all friends, and Ninja's chilling there. But we knew Ninja as just Ninja then, right? But you look back at it now, and now he's blown up so much.
He's the Ninja now.
Yeah, he's Ninja. And the same with Tfue. So Tfue was on the same team as Piney and I. So I used to manage Tfue at H1Z1. Yeah, and then he blew up, of course, being the guy that he is. Now, we kind of all knew he's crazy good at games. Disgustingly good. And I think all of us from the H1 community couldn't be more excited that he's blown up to be the person that he has. So
see, I don't know anything about Tfue or his past, and I had no idea that he played H1Z1. And I didn't even know he was on Denial too. That's insane.
Yeah, and ironically, I won't comment too much on it, but like, this is a Tfue's first time around being fucked out of money. In terms of, he was part of the Denial fuck up situation. And now the whatever's happening with FaZe, whatever the story is there. But he is a smart kid, really smart, far beyond his years. He's only 21. I knew him. I met him for the first time when he was 19. So yeah, he's a smart dude. But yeah, now he's blown up. Symphony's blown up. He's an H1 kid too. There's a lot of H1 kids that are out there that have blown up because of Fortnite, and it's really, really cool.
Do you play it at all? Do you fancy the Fortnites?
I played it from season 2 to like season 6. I would say spent a lot of money on the game, probably about $2,500. Don't play it anymore, but I loved it. I loved it for a long time. It's just Apex came out, Battlefield 5 came out, and I just kind of took a step away.
Do you like Battlefield 5?
Yeah, well, I like Battlefield 5 definitely more than Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 was a trash game. I have about 2,000 hours, actually not 25, in Battlefield 4.
Yes.
That's kind of how I started my streaming career, was Battlefield 4 on PS4.
No shit. Okay. And that was going to be one of my questions. I wanted to hear about your Twitch journey, but I love Battlefield. I don't think I got quite to 1,000 hours in 4, but that was by far my #1 favorite Battlefield game. I was in a PC gaming community where Battlefield 4, we ran Battlefield Bad Company servers. That was before my time. We ran Battlefield servers, and having an entire community where we could fill up a 64 slot server with like our community, that like the Battlefield times and then my Rocket League times, because just like you, Rocket League was one of the games that I was able to play off stream. And I just remember there was just like the 6-month period where 3, 4, 5 nights a week I would just get on, play Rocket League with the homies for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. And I hope to God that is not the peak happiness of my gaming life. Like, I want to know that there is another game out there that will bring me as much joy, but at the same time we only get older from this point. So but fuck, man, those 2 times in my life were some of the best gaming. But I mean, there's differences. Like now, like the love and passion I have for just gaming back then has transitioned into streaming and gaming. So like my passion is now just not 100% focused on playing the game. It's being an entertainer, bringing value to people's lives, making people laugh. And it's just kind of like it's a different kind of fulfillment. But you look back at those times, you're like, fuck, those great times. It really was.
Yeah, we basically did the same. That's how I started. So BF4, when BF4 came out, I got it day 1 when PS4 came out. It was like November of 14, November of 13. Started streaming May of 2014 after basically I was playing BF4 and I had found a guy on YouTube, checked out his channel on YouTube and found out that he was like live streaming. So I clicked on his live stream. That's how I found Twitch. Saw like this whole community of BF4 streamers. Started playing with them on PS4. We ended up having some servers on PS4 as well when they let you buy servers on PS4. So we had some. We even had like a little stream community for a couple of the partnered streamers that were in our stream team. We're basically, no joke, very similar to you. We could fill up a whole 64-man server. And what we would do is essentially, we would have a stream schedule where literally on 24 hours around the clock, you can find a streamer that's in that server that is live, and we would pass people off to each other. So like everyone had their streaming schedule. They would start streaming, run the server as an admin, and you would stream and people would join your server, and you could do different custom games. You could do pistol only. You could do like deagles only. You could do like whatever you wanted to do. We could do, no explosive metro, no explosive, locker.
Oh my God.
Doing all of the stuff that you wish you could have in the game, but like you could do it as part of your community. And then we grew, but then we separated, down towards our other games, right? So as the games died or moved or whatever, new games came out, we separated, but I still pretty much know and are close with every single one of them that's still there. So
what was the name of the streamer that led you to Twitch?
A level cap.
Level cap.
Do you know
okay.
level cap?
I don't.
So he level cap. He's in the same kind of crew as Matimio and Jack Frags and X Factor. So they're all kind of in the same crew. That did a lot of the Battlefield content. There's a gentleman also, Battle Nonsense on
I know them
on YouTube.
Yep.
So Battle Nonsense, Battlefield Friends, those guys.
Oh yeah.
Thick 44 is a streamer. Yeah. Neebs Gaming, they're all streaming on Twitch still. So
crazy.
They kind of all brought me to Twitch.
Okay. I used to marvel over Widgety Bear's helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah, Widgety,
oh my
geez.
God. He used to go insane.
Oh, what's the other kid's name? So Widgety was like the PC guy, but there was a guy on Rapture Ready 88 or Rapture Ready 888. So he was the PS4 version of Widgety Bear, basically. Okay. Him and a guy by the name of Russian Paladin.
Okay.
They used to have like 1v1 helicopter wars all the time, where it was literally like, they're flying in through buildings, like the craziest shit you've ever seen, and you're just like, wow.
Do you ever remember seeing compilations of somebody taking out helicopters with the straw? Mm-hmm. So that's my homie M249. He used to be in my gaming community back in the day.
Nice.
And I have never let go of the straw. Even to this day, dude, if we go back and play BF4, it's on my secondary at all times.
Didn't they nerf it? Like, didn't they nerf it to where it doesn't one-shot helis anymore?
It doesn't one-shot, and they also killed the turning radius, so it turns way slower, and it fucking sucks. There's two things I'm salty about in this world. Them nerfing the fucking straw and the game Grav dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when they nerfed the straw because, I'll say this. On PC, strawing helicopters was the easiest shit in the world. But on PS4, when you're trying to like guide your thumbstick, using a thumbstick to guide straws in the helicopters, it was hard as shit. And there's a lot of other things about console that makes it easier, but definitely when it came to strawing, there's no other feeling like taking out a jet, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Or even the little scout helis, with the straw.
Little bird?
Was like, yeah, the little bird or the other one, whatever, the Z1. Was it the Z1?
Z1 Havoc was the one with the...
No, the Havoc was the attack, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Z11. The Z11 one. It was like tissue paper. You barely touched the building and it just exploded.
You're right.
Yeah.
So would you call Battlefield 4 like your golden era, your Golden Girls era? If you were to put parameters around your best gaming in your life,
like best skill wise or like happiest moment,
like happiest gaming, like happiest period of time where you were playing video games. It can be a game. It can be a couple.
Halo original.
Okay.
Halo 1. So, luckily, I was one of these kids that was really into technology, and I got Halo, Combat Evolved on Xbox. Played it at my house, and remember back in the day, it didn't have any internet connectivity.
Right.
But there was actually a program that you could download on a laptop, and it would act as like a little miniature server. And so you can actually create little competitive tournaments on Halo 1 by hooking your Xbox directly into the laptop. The laptop would act as a server that connected via LAN. So you would run it's almost like a local LAN party, but the laptop would connect. And we had DSL, like back in the days when DSL was first coming out. And so I would run DSL and run competitive Halo tournaments on one Xbox way back in the day. And this was 2000, had to be 2002.
Wow, you little Mark Zuckerberg in your fucking dorm room with a laptop.
Yeah, no, this was at my parents' house. Like, I was just sitting out there, and then Halo 2 came out, and it had internet connectivity, and so we beat Halo 2. Got it midnight release at GameStop. In fact, I think it was actually Electronics Boutique is where I got it from at the time.
Okay.
And that time from Halo to Halo 2 and the first Forza and Forza 2.
Oh, you got into
I
the Forza games.
Yeah, I 100%ed every Forza and every Gran Turismo.
Whoa.
That was like my major accomplishment in life. You know, like honestly, if I were to die today, I wanted to be like the only guy on earth to complete in 100% of all Gran Turismo and Forza. Had every car, had every race done, had every like the 100% complete.
Aren't there some races on Gran Turismo that are like hours long?
Yeah, there was one on Forza 2 that I think was like 3 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh,
of the same damn course. You know, it's like 100 laps of something that takes forever.
I'm more impressed that controller batteries lasted that fucking. Well, that was probably a wired controller.
Yeah, they're all wired. Yep. It was that was like the happiest video game time, and I mean it was also before college and stuff, so it was you know a different time. I had a lot more time to be able to do that type of stuff.
So you said that you majored in chemistry in college?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yep.
And you're nowhere near that field right now, right?
Kind of. So I work in the healthcare field.
Oh, okay.
I work for healthcare company. So yeah, I was chemistry, was originally pre-med, decided I didn't want to be a doctor, and went into like the industry, and then got my master's in business, and then now that's what I do. Big boy job.
Big boy job.
Yeah, we love it. It allows me to have all this nice gear, right?
Dude, and you know, every day I think about like, man, how nice it would be. Like on the days that I have off and I boot up a stream at 10, 11 noon and have the energy of a fucking toddler to be able to go all day. I'm like, fuck, man, I wish I could do this more often. But then I think about how nice it is to not rely on Twitch revenue whatsoever in order to live my day-to-day life. And I think if it were to come down to like, hey, you can quit your job if you wanted, I don't know if I would. I would at least probably still do something part-time. I don't know if I'm cut out to be a full-time content creator. I don't know if I have the balls to live out in this universe just being a content creator. But yeah, not having to, I think it creates a whole different dynamic for a stream. You can definitely tell when you go in somewhere and that is their job. There's a lot more things on the screen, a lot more goals, a lot more incentives. And while incentives are cool and there's people who can market the fuck out of incentives to their advantage, I don't really see myself as somebody who can do that well. I would rather just be creative and then just kind of like entertain and that kind of have, you know, be my thing. And that's not this. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, back to the Battlefield 4 community that we started with. Some of those guys went from being very casual to making really good money off of Twitch at the time. And, you know, they quit their jobs. They, you know, became a full-time streamer. And that was actually the start of the decline of sort of their stream, right? Because what ends up happening is the money that's coming in is all nice and fine at one point in time. But when it becomes your sole source, and it's so variable, right? You get 1 month of a new game that, you know, you blow up and you get a lot of views and you get a lot of subs and all that stuff. Then the next month that all goes away, yet, you know, whatever the bills are that you have still exists. So it's a fluctuation. And man, it means a lot more from a viewer's perspective, like a viewer number perspective, that you keep it going. And if the viewer numbers drop by 10%, by 15%, by 20%, it basically is like, oh wow, I'm doing something wrong. When it might have nothing to do with you. It's just like the nature of the market is like shifts in and out of different things that you like and you don't like. And
right.
It's sad to see some of the good friends kind of get like, well, I don't know what the word is, but basically, you know, get jaded by this fact and get to the point where they get beaten up by Twitch. You know, they basically just get beaten to the point that they can't do it anymore. They realize they got to get another job again, or they got to go back to the real world and get a job. And it's tough to watch, man. That's really tough to watch. But at the same time, I'm just like you. I'm like, As long as I'm streaming for fun, I will always have fun. The day that I start streaming for money, I don't know that I have the capability of pushing content out like that every day, having that smile on it. Like some days you're gonna just have a bad day, but you still have to
Right.
stream.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, there was just recently where there was a day that I went to work and I just felt terrible. And we kind of have this code word where if you get in there in the morning and somebody like nudges you or like cracks a joke, all you have to do is say, "Not today, Chris." And they go, "Oh, okay. All right. Today's not the day I fuck around." And I think like whenever I've had close to a day like that on Twitch, there's a really, really good chance that you can go live and you can turn it around. And I think about, okay, what about the days that I have at work where I'm not able to turn it around? What does that look like for my content when I'm live? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I can do that. That takes some shit. And then if you do it, it's almost seen as disingenuous, where it's like, oh, well, you're not being yourself because you're actually sad and you're just putting on a fake smile. Fake positivity, which is like a whole nother rage among kids these days. So you have a full-time job?
Yep.
Do you find yourself? Do you stress about your numbers on Twitch, or are you never?
Never. I don't care. I don't do Twitch for anything. Other than basically it's my cooldown. So I work a pretty high profile job. There's a lot of stress. And if I don't do something in the afternoon, whether it's workout, golf, whatever it is, those have been my outlets. So basically streaming is my outlet. Streaming gets my mind off of work. If not, I will literally think about work all the time, because there's a lot of tough, a lot of big decisions that have to be made. And, if I don't take a step away, and sometimes it's like cooking, right? Like I could just go cook and focus on cooking. I can play video games. I can do whatever.
Cooking's a great outlet.
If I don't do that, yeah, it's a perfect outlet, right? You got to focus on a lot of different things at one time, and you get your mind off the stressful shit. And then it allows me to sleep great. I'm the type of person that gets 8 or 9 hours every night. I know that's crazy. But so I take it, and I always end my stream like right at the time I need to end my stream. And that is all about making sure that I don't compromise my work because of gaming too.
Right.
So when it hits 6 p.m. for me, it's over. I stop streaming. It's
really
done. No
that
more games.
early?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I start work at about 6 a.m. and then I usually finish about 3, and then I start streaming. Then I finish at 6, and then
Well, that makes sense why I'm never able to see you live when I'm home from work.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your day job?
Oh yeah. I
Okay.
love it. I've been in the same position for 10 years. So
whoa. Okay.
Yeah, same job for 10 years. I love it.
Awesome. Okay. So we were kind of having this conversation. I was having this conversation with my girlfriend, and I can't remember if we were having it on stream. But I have the perspective that your day job has a direct influence on streaming. I think that if you are unhappy with everything else in your life and you use I think there's a very distinct difference between an outlet and an escape. And I think having a stream, I think streaming as an outlet is awesome. I think streaming as an escape is dangerous. I think it's more so of like a Band-Aid thing than anything. So I'm on the side of if you do not have a good day job that you enjoy, even if you think that like, oh, I come home and I stream and I'm happy, but then I go back to work and I'm upset. That's going to run out eventually. It's going to get to the point where the sadness and the depression from your everyday life is just going to seep into your stream. So I firmly believe that it's really, really, really important to get a day job that you love, because I think that will reflect on your stream like 110%.
Yep. Absolutely. No disagreement with that. You're right on board. I think if you use streaming as an escape, to your point, I tend to think that you're probably worse off. You might be a better entertainer, actually, Possibly. Like I could totally see a situation in which you're a much better entertainer because you're stepping away and you're doing something to specifically get away from whatever job it is. But at the same time, I think net overall is more negative as an escape versus an outlet of chilling and think of it more like a hobby, you know, like cooking or like golfing or like running or whatever. If it's an outlet, a way to cool down, those type of things, but you still wake up the next morning, you're like, hell yeah, I don't mind going into work. Like I don't mind putting in a 12-hour day if I need to. Like that's when streaming, I think, is the best net positivity overall for somebody.
Absolutely. I'm currently, me and my girlfriend have been trying to like find the right schedule for us. So like we went really hard with going to the gym and eating well. But trying to work a full-time job, stream part-time, have time for the significant other in the house, and food prep all your meals is borderline impossible. It's even more impossible to try to fit a decent gym session in there as well. So I had one job, I got laid off. I'm currently at another job. And so within the past year and a half, we are constantly like moving things around, trying to find like the best schedule. And just recently, before I injured my fucking finger, we started going to the gym again at night. And we tried going in the mornings. Fuck going to the gym in the morning. I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person that likes to wake up like as I'm opening my eyes, put on my clothes, and then walk out the door and go to work. Like the least amount of time in between waking up and leaving for work as possible for me. I'd much rather do the things at the end of the day. So now we're trying to like get back into doing the gym at the end of the day. And I don't remember where I was going with this, but I know that like trying to get sleep ironclad, and it's like the same thing. I appreciate what you said about starting stream and ending stream at the same time, because a lot of people say the people who get the most out of their gym routine are the ones who do it at the same time every day. or every other day. And I think having that discipline with streaming is really, really good. And then having that discipline that also bleeds over into I'm going to the bed at the same time every time is really good for you too.
So what my literal afternoon routine is get off work, come home, change into basketball shorts and a t-shirt, like throw on, grab a water, grab whatever, throw on the stream for a couple hours, finish the stream at 6, go make dinner, finish dinner by like 6:30, 6:45, come in here. I will watch streams until about 7:30. At 7:30, streams, like I'm not supposed to be in my stream room at all. Like get out of your stream room at 7:30. Go clean your house, go do whatever, like gym, whatever. Walk away at 7:30 and start like prepping for bed. That way for me, like I'm usually in bed 9:30, asleep by 9:30, 10 because I wake up at 5 every morning. So it's like
you are too good to yourself.
That's what I have to do. And a little bit opposite for you. Like when I get into a gym routine, like I'm the type of guy, I wake up, brush my teeth, hit the gym, shower, get ready for work.
Okay, so you're able to fit that in the morning.
Yeah, I would do that in the morning when I was gymming. I'd spend 30 to 40 minutes in the morning, eat breakfast, shower, work.
Wait, you said you put basketball shorts on after work. Is that just like your comfy attire for after work and chill time? Okay,
yeah, because I'm in like jeans and a dress shirt, pretty much like California casual.
You lucky slut.
California casual, it's a thing. All right, it's like California. Yeah, so like. In California, especially Southern California, where I'm from, when you go into work, it's like a dress shirt and jeans and nice shoes, right? So like, if you're in management or you're like normal work, like that's pretty much business casual. But because you're wearing jeans, we call it California casual because that's what it is.
Okay. All right. So, what is the most you've ever spent on a pair of jeans?
$65.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. I expected California casual to be up there.
No, my favorite jeans are actually I'm a tall dude. And I have a very weird pant size. I wear 34, 36.
Okay.
So like I have long legs, but longer than my waist. And I used to wear a 32, 36. So But if you get to 32, 36, you actually have to start ordering custom pants. So I choose not to be as thin as 32, 36 because I want to be able to order Old Navy for like $30, man. Yeah, dude.
Pro strat, dude, 200 IQ.
She's like, no, sorry, I can't get fit. I don't want to buy new jeans.
By the way, I just had a quick reminder. What do I need to do in San Diego? So we're getting there.
Sure.
Wednesday morning, afternoon, and then we're not leaving until Monday. So we blocked out some time to go do shit. I know we need to do the San Diego Zoo. I need you to talk about your meat, aka the steak that you had before we went live. But yeah, what do I need to do in San Diego?
Well, it depends. It depends a little bit on what you're into. There's a shit ton of stuff to do in San Diego. There's a reason why San Diego doesn't really have great sports teams, is because no one goes to the game because they're all doing other shit.
Okay.
So there's a ton of stuff to do. So yes, the zoo is great. There's an aquarium as well. The Birch Aquarium is another one. The beaches are great, and there's a ton of great food. I can tell you a whole bunch of places to eat.
Okay.
If you've never had a fish taco in your life, the best place to get fish taco and Mexican food is in San Diego.
Okay.
I think San Diego Mexican food is better than Mexico. And yes, I've been to Mexico many times. So
I love fish tacos.
Yeah. So there's different styles of fish tacos. I can tell you the best of the best and where to get them.
Okay.
There's great golf. I'm not sure if you're into golf. We have it's a great military. Okay. It's a great military town. So there's, you can go out to Point Loma and see the point that's out there. And there's a big national cemetery there. The bases are all over, so you can go see the USS Midway if you're into that, which is docked in San Diego, downtown San Diego. They have like an audio tour.
Okay.
So you kind of put on your headphones and walk in there, and then you type in the number of the thing that you're looking at, and they'll walk you through this like tour. It's pretty badass. Surfing, you can surf, you can kayak. There's a lot of so you can kayak on the bay. You can also ocean kayak at La Jolla Cove and go swim with sharks. That's another cool thing. They're harmless sharks. They're like the ones that eat the invisible stuff in the water.
Okay.
They're not like they eat something in the water. I don't know, but they're harmless.
Sweet.
Yeah,
all right.
So you were stuff to do.
I hit up Ernest before we went live. I was like, hey, just letting you know this is the time frame, blah blah blah. And he's like, all right, I got a grill, or I got a steak that's going on the grill. And being a steak guy myself, I was super intrigued. So naturally, when we first got on the call, I asked, how was the steak? And he replied with,
it was amazing. That was great. It was great. The other thing about San Diego and their food scene is that you can get pretty much any type of food from different butchers and stuff that's here. And so there's a butcher place that's on my way home from work that I could stop in, and they have different grades of Wagyu steak. They'll have American Wagyu, which is like grade 5, grade 6 on the marble scale. And then recently they had, for 4th of July, ironically, they had grade 8 Australian Wagyu. And so I went in there and they had the ribeye version, and they actually had a couple cuts of just the cap. So if you guys are into ribeye steaks, there's sort of two parts. There's the main steak part, and then there's the top cap of a ribeye, and that's the real tender kind of like falls apart portion of the ribeye. It's opposite the bone. And the butcher there will cut you a piece. So it's $50 a pound or $60 a pound. I forget what it was. But they cut me a piece that was about 3/4 of a pound. So this steak in a restaurant would be probably $150-ish. But I got it for about $40, $45, something like that. And grilled it up. I have one of those pellet hardwood smoker grills, you know, that they're like auto grills.
This?
It's called a Camp Chef XL24 if you want to look it up.
Camp Chef, baby! Sorry, you got me excited. What was the model number again?
XL24.
XL24. Okay.
Yeah, so I threw that steak on there. It's like 4 minutes aside. You know, it's good shit.
Look at this cute little thing. So it's a smoker on the left side, but then just a grill in the middle?
Well, it's whatever you set the temperature to. So like if you set it to 220 high smoke or 160 low smoke, or you can set it to 450, which is then it just burns the wood. So it's wood fired.
Okay, so it's
Everything's
only
wood.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, because I just noticed there's only
Everything's wood.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, because I just noticed there's no propane dials in the middle there. I am intrigued.
So it just feeds these little pellets into like a little heat auger, and that creates the heat and the smoke. So you could smoke ribs, you can smoke pork, you can cold smoke bacon, you can do all this shit on this grill. Or by the way, you could just grill a steak, like at 450 degrees if you want.
Dude, okay, so is this your go-to way of grilling?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grill this way 100% of the time now.
All right. Have you taken any pictures of your meat recently that I can look at?
Yeah.
You don't have to do it now.
You.
Yeah. DM me your meat after the show. That'd be great.
Yeah, I got you. I take a weekly picture of my meat usually. Yes! To make sure something's going into my body appropriately.
Good. So I just got a Camp Chef flat top griddle.
Nice.
Probably a couple months at this point, and had some friends over today, made some smash burgers, and they were pristine. But cooking is something that I've come into in the past couple months. I more than months now. It's probably been over a year or so. But if anybody's curious in chat, I'm going to post a link to what he was talking about. And actually, if you want to verify what I was talking about, or what you were talking about, pellet grill. Interesting.
It's a pellet grill. Let's see. That's the Smoke Pro. I'm pulling it up. Yeah. So that one's the XT24. I think mine's the XL24.
Ooh.
Either way,
okay.
I think they're the same thing.
Okay.
It was on Amazon. It's $800. It comes. The one that I got comes with like a sear box that has a propane hookup, so that it's get even hotter. So you can sear on the side and then smoke. But yeah, this thing it was basically a tax return gift. So I got a tax return, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use my tax return on a new grill, and a really good one. So.
Whoa. Okay, I'm looking at all these meat pics, and I'm getting excited. This looks awesome.
Hey, Clem.
Oh my god. Yeah. So how long have you had that?
Just this year. I got it in February.
Okay. That looks really, really sweet. The smoking is something that I haven't really gotten into. I actually, after I got this grill, it was the first time that I'd ever made burgers. I'm 28 years old, and that was the first time. I'm not too keen. Well, thank you. It's been an awesome journey. I haven't made any steaks on the flat top yet because I've gotten so good at making steaks in a cast iron with an oil and butter basting method. With the Wagyu, would you find that it's way better in the method that you're cooking it rather than in a pan in the house?
Honestly, if I'm being my sort of food snob self,
give it to me.
I think cast iron pan is probably better.
Okay.
But I really like the flavor of wood cooked things, and so I like the wood cooked to add to the Wagyu. Now the difference with a smoker grill to me is that it's better for shittier cuts of meat versus high end cuts of meat. So that's why I would say probably go to the cast iron for something like that, because I think you get a more even sear on it, and I feel like you can also control the internal temperature better on a really nice piece of meat. But for shittier cuts like a chuck or even tri-tip or smoking, a pork shoulder or something that takes a while to break down, then of course you go with the smoking.
Interesting. I was looking for ribeye, and we went to this one. Do you guys have Meyer out on the West Coast?
We don't have Fred Meyer. We have the alternative, which is the Kroger version. So there's a Kroger Vons is what they call it, or Smith's, I guess used to be the old one.
Okay. So, we have Kroger and Meyer, and the Meyer that we started going to recently doesn't have ribeye at the meat counter. There's no fucking ribeye. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
That's crazy.
So they sometimes have it prepackaged. And so they didn't have any prepackaged that day. And then I'm doing some scouring, and me in my current meat education didn't know what chuck eye was. So did a quick googly on the phone and said, okay, I see that chuck eye is a poor man's ribeye. I'm like, well, this will probably be decent. and it was not. I was so angry. It wasn't even good enough to like use for a cheesesteak. Like it just was not good at all. I was so mad. Is that all, Chuck Eye? Or am I just being snobby now because of eating regular ribeye?
Well, so it all depends. Like, there's a lot of really good YouTube videos that are out there that I've watched a lot of, but like, it's basically like, this is gonna get real in depth, but when the cow is walking, there's certain parts of the cow that are active and non-active, and depending on how the cow is raised or what it's doing, different areas of the meat. In fact, even portions of the ribeye, as you get towards one of the other ends of the ribeye, it gets worse, right? So you can actually get pieces of ribeye that are worse than like a New York strip. Or
really?
Pieces of, yeah, there's like different, and so yes, the answer is it depends on the chuck, but most of the time with like chuck roast or anything chuck, slow cook it. Just always slow cook it. Turn it into like a braised meat, put it in a crock pot or something for 8 hours and let it just turn into, shredded beef, basically.
Got it. Okay. Well, one of the last things that I wanted to get into, you got a little bit more time, right? I'm not eating up too much of your time. Okay. I'm not trying to eat into your bedtime.
No, it's 7:36. Okay, it's fine.
You're still good.
I'm working from home tomorrow. I'm working from home tomorrow. So
oh shit.
I'm not
okay.
so worried about it.
Is that because of like an extra day because of the holiday weekend?
No. I have a call at 6:30 in the morning, so I'm not going to drive into the office by that time. Even though I'm usually there, I would have to get up 30 minutes even earlier to get to the office by that time to like set up the computer and get ready for the call. So I'll just take it from home and spend the rest of my day here.
There you go. So I'm a traveling network and IT administrator, and so I pretty much just travel to clients all day long. And one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest reasons that I'm a fan of my employers is because they allow things like, I don't know if you are making the call on you staying home or if you have somebody above you that allows it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. So if I get off, if I get off a call and I'm going to head back to the office, but there's only an hour left in the workday, they're like, no, there's no reason for you to come here and sit for an hour. They're like, no, just go home. Oh, you have a call early in the morning, stay home in your pajamas, make the call, and then come in a reasonable time. And having that sort of understanding in an employer and a boss is like night and day difference for somebody like me. Yeah,
absolutely. Same thing. My boss has always been kind of, she used to work from home 2 days a week because it was about a 45-minute drive into the office. And her argument, which I think is like my argument as well, coming from like an economist type level, is like, if you spend 45 minutes in the car on the way here and you spend 45 minutes in the car on the way home just to work 6 hours in the office, 7 hours in the office, whatever it is, you're actually costing the company more money because you could wake up and in 5 minutes be on a call. Instead, you're 45 minutes not being by your computer, that's the argument, right? That's the argument. And you're saving more time. You're able to do other things in your life. For her, it was take care of her kids, right? So she's able to take care of her kids in that time and get to work earlier because she's not driving to work. So those are the types of trade-off from like an economist standpoint that I'm like, hell yeah. And so we just recently moved offices, and she was like, yeah, work from home as much as you feel like you need. We'd like to see you in the office as much as possible, but I also understand that some days you're just going to have calls for 9 hours and there's no sense in even coming into the office. So
how long?
9 hours
of one call?
No, it'll be like 5-6 calls.
Okay,
over 9 hours.
Whoa, Jesus Christ!
No, we usually, if we're gonna have 8 to 12 hour meetings, we usually do them in person.
Okay, got it. Okay,
those are like we were just in San Francisco 3 weeks ago now, and we were in 3 10-hour meetings back to back. So it was like Tuesday for 10 hours. Wednesday for 10 hours, Thursday for 10 hours, all in the same room with 10 people, just like knocking a bunch of shit out.
Please tell me that there was at least dope ass food ready for you guys, or
average food,
oh,
but
no, it's not even worth it.
But we don't have any like per diems or anything like that, so we don't have a limit on like what we can eat for dinner and stuff like that. But like,
sweet.
Yeah, breakfast was shit and lunch is shit, but you know, we get to go out to nice dinners and stuff.
The oxygen's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
So one last thing I wanted to touch on was Go XLR.
Sure.
So something that I think I touched on the beginning of the episode was kind of how we met. So years ago, at this point, this had to be 2.5 years ago. I remember looking up a YouTube video for trying to figure out how to work dual streaming PC, or dual PC stream setup. And I found this video by a guy named I'm Cody, and he still streams to this day, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So he had a video, and he shouted out a guy named Ernst in his video. I'm like, okay, Ernest got the answers for me. I'm gonna find this guy. And so through a couple different searches, I found a YouTube channel that was his, and it was explaining dual PC audio with a Behringer 1204. And before this, I had never touched audio equipment whatsoever. I didn't even know, like, I called faders sliders. Like, I was like, oh, I need a mixer with the slidey things, and had no fucking idea what I was doing. And so I watched a bunch of videos, spent countless nights dreaming about audio, and then eventually got my setup working. And I was like, you know what, subscribe. And I think there was a while, because I don't think we had talked up until the XLR thing. So I had purchased the Go XLR for my setup, and then I had returned it because it wasn't going to work for what I wanted. And then in that tweet, I had a bunch of people respond to me like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. Everybody's tagging Ernest, like, hey, talk to this guy Ernest. I'm sure he can help you get it working. And then I was like, oh fuck, it's the Ernest, not even his real name Ernest. I know this guy. And so we got to talking on Twitter a little bit, and then we got such in-depth discussion that we started DMing and sending videos back and forth. And then through a bunch of conversation later, here we are. But I kind of, I know your perspective on the Go XLR. I want to know if anything, in your opinion, has changed since we talked. I know you have a dual PC setup and you have got it working. It sounds fantastic, and I know you get it to work for what it is. I know a lot of people in chat that are thinking about getting the Go XLR, both in single and dual PC setups. And I want you to kind of, you don't have to go into extreme detail, but to answer the question, do you think people should buy a Go XLR for both a single or a dual PC setup? So just kind of like to hear kind of your thoughts as of now. Are there things that you're looking forward to getting software wise? And, just fire away.
Yeah, so I did a video on it, kind of my initial thoughts, and I did this video kind of letting myself explore the Go XLR for like 2 or 3 weeks before I came up with my opinion on it. Because the very first thing that I wanted to do is I reached out to Helicon, and I was like, hey, I met them actually at TwitchCon in Long Beach. I think it was Long Beach. Asked them about it. And we were talking about this thing. I talked to their product manager. I talked to their engineer. It was like I had set up, for record, I've set up 200 or 300 different dual PC stream setups on Twitch now, somewhere around there, including Tifu's that we talked about. So I'm Tifu's audio guy, quote unquote, and Symphonies and some of the other people, and Cody's, of course. But yeah, so there's a lot of people that use my old setup, and as you know, one of the things with that old setup is that it had about 14 or 15 different cables. And I'm a little bit OCD. I hate having cables everywhere. And so cable management for me was something that I really cared about. But there was an issue. Anytime I changed out a peripheral or something like that, I'd have to go back through all of that shit and redo it all, spending hours on zip tying shit for days and days and days. And so I reached out to Helicon. I was like, hey, can you guys send me one for like 2 or 3 weeks? Just so I can set it up and see what it's like, and I'll send you the $400 if I like it. You know what I mean? Like, no problem. At the time, they're like, no, we're all out. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll pre-order it. So I pre-ordered it last December, I think, and it came in February or March. Threw it all together, and I struggled with some stuff. I was like, man, what the hell is this? What like why is it doing this? What is this? So nonetheless, I got it all set up. And I was like, do I like it? You know, it didn't necessarily have the things that I was looking for out of box because it's without a doubt the Go XLR is designed for one PC. Like the way it's set up, it's not really designed to be used with dual PC. They do have some commentary on like how to set it up with dual PC, but in reality, I didn't find that was the best. Primarily, the issue that I had with it is that whatever you heard in your head is exactly what the stream would hear. And if you're a streamer that like wants to turn down music while you're playing games, but you want to leave music on for the stream at a different level, it didn't feel like it was going to work. Well, then I actually got to talking with the guys at Helicon, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, why don't you try this?" And I was like, shit, I didn't even think of that. Like, why wouldn't I do this? Because originally they tell you to hook everything up to the game PC, and originally I was like, well, no, I'm gonna hook it up to the stream PC because I want this freedom, and I can run it this way and that way and this way. And one of the guys suggested something. Now, he said he wasn't sure if it was still going to work, but he and I started talking about like the structure of how the Go XLR is and how everything is programmed within the device. And once we kind of got to talking about like how everything's programmed within the device, I was like, oh fuck, I can do this.
The brain starts going.
Yeah. I start like, connecting the dots like, okay, if I run it this way, then I can do that. And this will give me the same functionality I used to have with my mixer. And I'm going to do this and this. So now I've messed around with this Go XLR probably more times than most people ever have. And I've got it down in such a way that it has all of the functionality of my old setup for about $200 cheaper than what my old setup was, and about 12 cables less than my old setup. And that's ignoring the fact that it's also got like RGB and some of the other stuff that I didn't ask for. I don't need it. I don't truly care about it, but it does look cool.
Well, look at your room. It's beautiful.
I know. My room is all RGB'd out, but like if I have like a functional piece of equipment, I care about the functionality more than the RGB, right? So, but no, I love the thing now, and I'd say for 6+ months now, anytime somebody comes to me and's like, what should I do for setup? Whether you're single PC or dual PC, I think you should get a Go XLR. I've heard some rumors that there might be some different versions of some coming soon.
Okay.
So I don't know any sorts of timing. I haven't seen anything like this. There was one tweet about asking for a beta sign up to be a tester for some things. So that was from the Helicon gaming product manager guy. So I don't know what's coming, when it's coming, what is it doing, but if they have other products that are out there, there might be some more products that are going to be even more catered to somebody that might be just single PC. I do think that the Go XLR has some overhead stuff. Like I don't know that most people are going to have the need to do voice changers. For most streamers, I don't think that voice changing is a needed thing. The sampler to me is a bit overkill. It is fun to play with, and certainly like a sampler day is fun to mess around, but like, do you need it all the time? The answer for me, I think the best part is basically it's got a microphone interface, which is huge. It's got onboard compression and noise gate, which is huge because there's issues with the way that OBS does their software versions of it. And they are hardware versions of compression and noise gate. So even though it's controlled by software, they're all hardware versions. It's got a hard limiter, so no matter how much you scream, you're not going to peak if you set it up right. It's got a pretty easy UI when it comes down to setting your mic gain, which I think is probably one of the biggest challenges with microphone setup.
Oh yeah,
is that most people have their gain too high. Most people have their microphone in the wrong spot, but they kind of give you like a general sense on how to deal with it. The mute button for me is not something that I would ever use. They have a hard mute and they have the bleep button. So I think I would recommend it over everything right now. the downside is it is $400. That's a pretty good ticket. Throw on $100 microphone on top of it. Throw on $100 to $200 headset on top of that.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you have a $700 setup just for audio. So yeah, it's not cheap, but I think it is worth it, because if you're going to buy all that stuff separately, whether it's just the mixer, the voice changer, inline compression, and all this other stuff, you're going to be spending $700-800 just on the hardware, not the headphones and the mic. So I definitely love it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad that you still love it, and kind of I wish that they're in their future products. I hope that there is a way that you can, because like the main issue that I had was just IO in general. It was just like there just wasn't enough input output for what I wanted, and like I use the voice changers. I have other devices that tie into my mixer. Like I have a lot of other incoming sounds. If they made it to where I could input a mixer into the Go XLR and then I could still control the levels of all of those devices before they get to it, I think it could be a device that would work for me. But I'm so,
you can do that now.
See, I tried and could have been doing it wrong, but no matter what I did, the way that I wanted it to be set up, and you saw from our DMs kind of how particular I wanted. Whenever I tried taking a mixer and outputting it into the Go XLR, it just did not like it. And I have a really bad problem with power conditioning in my house right now, and that's kind of an issue that I've never been able to get away from. And I've seen kind of their roadmap and rumors of what they want to do with. Did they already make it so you can control your headphone volume independently, or has that not come out yet?
That one is in. So they have a headphone volume slider now, in the app, but the mix volume is not the same. So they do have a version of it to where you can turn your headphones down while leaving the output, the output to the stream to be louder, but it still turns down the whole mix in your headphone, not individual mix in your headphone. So they do have some beta versions of some other stuff that is in a beta software. They were testing beta stuff out pretty much constantly. And I've just kind of waited for it to come out to be the regular one, because they use the standard Audio drivers that Windows uses. And if Windows hates the driver build, or there's a little bit of a bug in the driver or something, it'll dump your whole PC. You'll blue screen, or you'll get a situation where games won't load drivers properly. So I didn't want to deal with that, even if it wasn't going to happen, because it's in beta, it's likely to happen. So honestly, I would check it out, but I have it set right now to where I want it. So I'll wait for the beta and see what else comes of it.
Okay. In closing, is there any one thing that you would think would become a game changer for you, like something that would make you love it even more? Is there a feature that you see yourself yearning for, or is it everything you need it to be and you don't find yourself craving anything extra?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I guess my one big, my only really big gripe about the instrument is that they kind of missed a little bit of logic. Like, I feel like they talked to streamers when they designed it, but I don't think they talked to streamers that really knew how to communicate what they need. Because there is 6 different cables that can come in and out of the Go XLR, right? And it still boggles my mind that they didn't just make it a USB in and a USB out. Like, why didn't they just use 2 USB cables? They could have literally solved everything with 2 USB cables. I talked to the product manager guy about it, and I was like, why didn't you guys do that? And like, well, we wanted to account for this. And I'm like, pretty sure USB still could have accounted for all of that. So, it's one of those things that maybe it's a wish list thing, from a usability, making everything easier. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I wish they had, and supposedly it's coming, is basically separate mix button. So full-blown separate mix. Right now it's got one mix, and that mix can be turned up or down for both the stream or your headphones. Now, what I've had to do is I've put in a USB inline switcher, and I've split the audio signals so that I can control them separately from the stream. But, I did that because of the conversations that I had about how it works.
Right.
Not exactly necessarily the way that they wanted it to be designed. I've added about 2 or 3 more cables in order for me to have that capability, just like I had with my old mixer. If they could have that as a part of the device itself and within the app, then I think they solve every problem.
Do you have any guides or anything regarding your dual PC setup?
Yeah, I have. I did a dual PC routing with the Go XLR.
Okay.
About how I have it currently set up. I did that on my YouTube. It's a short video, but I kind of explain what happens, how I manage it. It's not so bad. I keep my stream PC off for the most part.
Okay.
And then when I'm ready to stream, I turn it on and set the Go XLR up for that type of thing.
Okay. Roger that. All right, dude. Well, we got a couple questions from Q&A, and then we can wrap this baby up. So we have 2 questions, both from, is it Cuddy Live? Cuddy Live?
Yeah.
Cuddy. All right. Do you believe Fortnite would still have such a following and player base if there wasn't a multi-million-dollar year prize pool for its competitive scene?
I think the answer is no, but I think it's because it's sort of a cause and effect, right? So the content creators, like I mentioned before, have a drive to get money, right? Whether they're a pro player or they're going to be one of the entertainers that are going to be part of a Fortnite event, right? Like an invitational type event where there's streamers and other people. You want to be a part of that event, right? If you're a content creator. And so you want to play the game in order to be good enough to be a part of that event or to pull in the viewers for it. At that point, it then drives, it basically drives the people that watch those content creators to stay a part of the game, right? Because they love their streamer. They found this streamer that during the time that they're playing Fortnite, they love it. And because of that, they're going to keep going. So I think because of that pool, you're getting more people that stay around versus just leaving because they want to be a part of that pool. Which then keeps the base active.
I'm kind of on the opposite side. I feel like I remember when Fortnite got massive, and it was before any of those big prize pools were announced. I mean, I can't say. I guess I'm kind of on the fence because I don't necessarily think that the prize pool is what drove most of the player base. I think
Agree.
But I think that the prize pools had a direct hand in proving to parents everywhere that kids can make money playing video games. So I guess not necessarily did it feed Fortnite's, kind of reign over everything. Maybe. I mean, it definitely helped. There was kids from all over the nation and all over the world that were coming into these Fortnite tournaments. So I'm sure it definitely had a play in it. But I mean, Fortnite was multi-platform playable. Yes, the game beforehand didn't do so great, but as soon as the BR came out, I mean, and it wasn't immediate, it's game over. I mean, they absolutely took over. So obviously, when there's money involved in a competitive scene, it's really going to fuel the fire for a lot of people. But a lot of gamers don't necessarily get into gaming for the money, right? They were in gaming before the money was there. But I definitely think that it helps, but I don't think money is why Fortnite got big whatsoever. I think it was just such a fun game. It had massive reach. It was multi-platform. It was violent enough to be fun for adults, but not violent enough for parents to let their kids play it. You're allowed to kill people, but you're not allowed to cuss on stream.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting. I remember when they first announced that they were doing $100 million in prize pools. I was like, fucking what? How
Yeah.
much money?
Yeah.
Like no company has ever laid out that much money for a competition before. So there's nothing cool to see.
Came after their big growth. That was like after they had said, you know, they had 10 million or 10 million users or whatever the number was that they announced at the time. I honestly, I think the nature of it, to your point, is that it started as a good game, right? It started as a real playable, real good game. The two things that I think contributed to this is, think of the two biggest frustrations of BRs up to that point: looting and getting shot in the back, right?
Yep.
And Fortnite doesn't totally have that, because you can build, which means you can protect yourself in an open map. So like when you got to rotate across an open map in any other BR, you're probably going to get shot in the back, and you can't do anything about it. If you don't see a rock around, or you don't have a tree or something like that, you're going to get shot and you're probably going to die if you don't shoot first. In Fortnite, you can now build and get safe. You could do those type of things. The other aspect of it is like you walk over loot. You don't have to click E every time you want to like loot ammo, all this other stuff. You just fucking run over the ammo. You run over those things. The only time you have to use that type of thing is if you want to switch out guns to upgrade to another gun, or pick
which
up
I liked.
kits. Yeah, it's I think they simplified some of the more annoying parts of BR, and I still think that there's a lot of things that can come of this. Ironically, back in 2015, I actually told the H1 guys, hey, you guys should really consider, like, right after you kill someone, to give your health back, right? Because another vulnerability aspect of BRs is right after you get done fighting with someone and you're low health, someone else comes right around the corner that's full health and shoots you in one shot, and you're like, fuck, man, I'm not rewarded by just getting that kill.
Right.
Well, then Fortnite comes out with it, right? They come out with that siphon mode, and now everybody loves it. And I still think there's a lot of growth in BR that's out there that's still available. And I'll be curious of whether or not Fortnite does it in their game, or whether another game is going to come along and do it.
Interesting. Okay. Next question, also from Cuddy. Do either of you invest in cryptocurrencies or plan to in the future?
My answer's short. I do. I believe in crypto. I don't invest a lot, though. You know, let's just say it's small, a lot less than my barbecue.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe in it, but I should invest more.
Okay. I don't have expendable income to invest. I feel like I should get rid of debts before I start investing in things. It's probably a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Last question from Starving Buddha. What is your favorite seasoning to put on those delicious steaks? Trick question. If you say anything other than salt, which is a mineral, you're wrong, dead wrong.
Yeah, a little bit of a trick question, right? But yeah, salt and pepper. That's all I do on steak.
Okay.
I will sometimes finish a steak with butter. So like you do salt, pepper, grill it, and then when it's like sitting in the foil, you know, I'll throw a tablespoon of butter on top and let it melt over the steak. That's if I'm not pan cooking it, which then of course has butter, rosemary, garlic, whatever, with the butter as like a flavor. The only time that I'll like marinate a steak would be tri-tip or like sirloin, something that doesn't have a lot of fat throughout the meat, because then it doesn't really have a lot of flavor anyway.
Right.
And I'll say this. I think the filet is the most overrated cut of meat that there is.
Yes.
It's like why anyone would pay the most money on a freaking menu for a filet is beyond me. Just order a top sirloin. It's the same shit.
So I'm glad you said this, because just recently I bought probably 3 rounds of filet and watched a shit ton of videos. I like to think I do steaks pretty good, and I got it down. And I did these fillets, and I was just so fucking unimpressed. I remember watching all these YouTube videos, and I'm like, why are people using other seasonings other than salt and pepper? Why are people baking these au jus and these zip sauces and these mushrooms? And I'm like, why are they? And it's because the steak by itself tastes like ass. It doesn't taste like anything. So they have to throw all of these other flavors into it. There's certain other dishes that if filet is incorporated into it, like if I'm going hibachi, I'm getting filet all day. I'm throwing that shit in some yum yum sauce. I'm going to go to town. But yeah, doing the pan-seared filet, I was not a fan whatsoever.
Yeah, I think New York strip ribeye, those are the cuts that I'm going to choose if I'm going to make that. I do understand, like, if filet is technically healthier, right? Because it doesn't have as much fat. It's usually a smaller cut. So like ribeye in New York can be overwhelming in terms of like size. So filet is nice to have a smaller size, but I don't know. It's, to me, yes, it's the most tender, but it's also the least flavorful. So, if I'm gonna do a fillet, I'm probably gonna do like a mustard sauce, or like a grill it in a mustard sauce, because I want flavor out of it. I don't want just a tender piece of meat. If I want a tender piece of meat with no flavor, I'll choose top sirloin every time.
Right. Have you ever had or made beef Wellington?
I've had it. I've never made it. For sure, yeah.
I've never made, and I'm looking to go out and spend some money, get some beef Wellington, because I've seen it so many times. I'm not ballsy enough to try and make it myself quite yet, but it's something I'm really looking forward to trying.
Yeah, and the Chateaubriand, which is mentioned, that's sort of a different version of a Wellington, without the bread on it. But yeah,
okay,
it's good. It's worth a shot. It's always fun to make. Fun. It looks fun to make, I should say. I've never made it, but like, I don't know. It's also not really my flavor.
Okay.
Even when I've had it, it's like, I still think I'd rather have a ribeye or a New York strip. Right.
Personally, for steaks, they're always pan seared in cast iron, thyme, rosemary, garlic, butter based in olive oil and butter, Kerrygold butter. Shout out. Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag Irish,
Hey, baby. I think I love skirt steak almost as much as ribeye. It's definitely one of my favorite. When it comes to that, if I'm doing the meal prep skirt, there's a seasoning that is cumin, cayenne, salt, pepper, brown sugar, and there's coriander. And it's just a seasoning, and then that's pan fried, and that's super, super good. There's also a lime soy salt and oil marinade that my buddy taught me for skirt steak, and you can just eat it straight up or do fajitas or whatever, and that is almost one of my favorite ways to eat skirt. But other than that, it's always salt, pepper, butter, oil, garlic.
Yep.
Rosemary.
Yep. I do like a chimichurri flank steak, which is this flank steak is just a little bit thicker than the skirt steak. But yeah, chimichurri, very similar to like a fajita. That rub that you just mentioned is basically a version of chimichurri, but it's all ground up spices versus having like the fresh. So I was super into pestos and chimichurris for a long time, where I was just making different versions of all of it. And so using like a flank steak or a skirt steak, putting that chimichurri on top, it's a very solid thing for tacos or fajitas, like you said. Like that's prime.
There is a Matty Matheson YouTube video where he makes steak sandwiches with skirt, and he makes a kale chimichurri steak sandwich, and it looks fucking amazing. That's one thing I think I'm good enough to try now, but that definitely looks good.
That's I got a question for you.
All right.
Okay, three foods that you will not eat. I'll give you mine, and then think of yours.
Okay.
I will not eat kale, beets, or goat cheese.
Oh shit.
All
okay.
three. Now I love a lot of cheeses. I like pretty much every other thing that's on there. All collard greens, I'll eat them all day. But
okay.
Kale can fuck off. Beets can fuck off, and goat cheese can fuck off.
Okay. Corn, mashed potatoes, whipped cream.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a different one.
I don't know if whipped cream's really a food. If I had to swap in another food, cheesecake.
Okay. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I can't get on board. I just can't.
Is it a texture? Like, what would you say? Is it a texture thing?
Mashed potatoes is strictly texture. I love all other kinds of potatoes. Something about that softness in my throat. I gag and I cough it up every time. Same thing with whipped cream. I actually think whipped cream tastes pretty gross. Corn I just don't think tastes good. And then cheesecake, all cheesecake tastes the exact same to me. I've never had cheesecake that has tasted different from the previous cheesecake. And again, not being big on like whipping cream or whipped cream, it's just, I don't know. I'm not big on a lot of desserts. Like if you were to hand me like a $50 flan or a bag of Jolly Ranchers, I'm taking the Jolly Ranchers like 10 times out of 10. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
But beets too, man. No Greek salads for you. No,
like beets can fuck off. They, honestly, you know what it is. Here's what it is. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I used to watch, the cartoon show Doug.
Yeah.
And everything in that show was all about beets, right? The Killer Beets was the band, all that shit. They tried to get me to eat beets, subliminally, like try to get me to eat beets. And I would try them all the time. And every single time that I tried beets, including to like last year, retrying them again, always keep trying them to see if your mind changes, right?
Right.
They just taste like fucking sandbox. It's literally like I'm just scooping a sandbox at a playground straight into my mouth. It's so gross.
Have you ever accidentally turned down cranberry sauce thinking it was beets? Like, no, get that shit away from me.
No.
Okay.
No, that was, but yeah, those are those. Kale is self-explanatory. There's no way.
Fair enough. I won't argue there. All right, my dude. Well, just like that, 2 hours has gone by and it's been a really good time. What I want you to do is take another second, introduce yourself. Feel free to shout out anything that you have coming up. By the way, before I let you do that, let me say that you are one of the most like humbled, non-boasting dudes. Like before today, I had never heard you shout out or name drop anybody ever. And this is me sticking my nose so far up your ass, but you do a fantastic job. You do a fantastic job of maintaining humility and gratitude. And I can read that kind of shit from a mile away. So you do a great job of it, man. Of course. So yeah, go ahead. Take it away. Spit out some social media. Sell out all day long. Go for it.
Yeah, I don't sell out. I don't want your money, but no. Twitter's Ernst Blofield. If you guys have any audio questions from, what mics do I like, what headphones do I like, anything like that, you guys just want help on your guys' stream or anything like that, it's ERNST_Blofield BLOFIELD. Twitch is the same. YouTube, I think, is the same. I don't know. You find me. I can link you to YouTube. It's probably in my link in my Twitter. But Twitter's where I'm most active. I'm on Instagram as well, but it's literally just food. So
yes, okay. I'm gonna have to. I'm like I said, I'm gonna need all of them meat pics because being somebody who's just kind of getting into cooking. I remember a time where I was so angry at everybody taking pictures of their food. But there's a totally different dynamic when you're the one cooking the food. Yeah. And man, it's like the accomplishment of cooking something from start to finish is really, really awesome. I just realized totally I was supposed to put your social media on that link that is in chat, and I didn't do it yet. So I threw your Twitter and your Twitch in chat. Guys, do yourselves a favor. Give this man a follow.
Thank you.
What do you have as far as game wise? What do you have coming up on Twitch?
Tomorrow and probably other times this week, I'll be playing Team Fight Tactics. I can't seem to get away from that game, so I will probably be playing that. I think it's usually it'll start around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually pretty chill. We play music. We don't take it too seriously, of course.
Okay, good shit, man. Well, thank dude, oh shit, I just accidentally turned off my lights with my foot. I have a foot switch pedal board that controls my lights, and sometimes I fat foot it. Being as somebody who's been kind of following you, loosely for the past 2 years, and somebody who you directly helped, like I would not have what I have today if it wasn't for the video that you made out of kindness of your heart way back then. So as somebody who's been benefiting from your knowledge, thank you very, very much for coming on the show and just talking stuff. I had a really great time talking to you. You're an awesome dude, and I'm super glad that we got the chance to sit down and have some conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to get the fuck out of here. Remember, if you want to stick around to raid another channel and you want to join in on that, we're going to do that immediately following the stream. This podcast will be back in 1 week for episode 98 with Middle Age Stream, Salty Sam, and one other guest. And we'll be back with some more fun then. So everybody have a fantastic night. Thanks for chilling with us. We'll see you later. Goodbye.